on record. Let's title this, our discussion or discuss this morning, with blessing and curse. Blessing and curse. We have our texts. Just want to give you the text passages. You can read it on your own. Leviticus 26, 1 to 13 has to do with blessings. Blessings shall follow those who obey Yahweh's instructions. Leviticus 26, 14 to 40 pronounce curses. Curses shall follow those who. Deuteronomy 28, 14. Blessings shall follow those who obey Yahweh's instructions. Deuteronomy 28, 15 to 68 provides curses for those who will disobey Yahweh's instructions. Deuteronomy 27, verse 26 talk about curse, a curse that will follow anyone who disobey Yahweh's instructions, or the Torah, or the law. Exodus 20, 17, Exodus 20, verse 1 to 17. 1 to 17, that's what it's supposed to be. Now it provides the everlasting covenant, or the everlasting commandment, the same with Deuteronomy 5, 7 to 21. This everlasting covenant, anyone that breaks it, death will follow the person. Proverbs chapter 8, verse 36. Those who break Yahweh's everlasting covenant, those who forsake and forget Yahweh, he promised them death, so they will perish. Now, if this is all these, if all these are from the book of instructions, book of the commandments, the book of covenants, the Bible we read, if this is what the Bible provides us, if this is what is called Torah, the instructions of Yahweh, and Yahweh says, if you live by them, if you're obedient, you are mine. I will protect you. And I will bless you. But if you do the opposite, curse or curses will follow. Now, if this is what is left with us, and the same scriptures is asking us to choose blessing or curse. Now, what do we do? If we look at the world we live today, the world exists in sin. The world has been living in sin ever since man failed. The world will continue to live in sin or thrive in sin until sin is destroyed and the wickedness herein are completely removed. Now, sin will not just go away. It will go away with those who rebelled who took in sin itself. The world we live today is seriously crashing. The world we live today do not know peace any longer. One will say, yes, around him or her, there is peace. But if you look closely, if you look the environment everywhere, all over the world, you will see that this tension is mounting. Even in the households, in the families, you see tension. Among children, you see tension. Fathers, mothers, you see tension. Communities, you see tension. You enter into market, you see tension. Prices are increasing, flying by weeks, by months. It's like what goes up. At times, we say it will come down. But in certain cases, and in many cases, it's not like that in terms of most of the prices of things out there hitting the roof. And it's affecting individuals, children, father, mother, families, communities, people across the world. So as a result, all these are, factors that are brewing tensions. And as a result, you see people who ought to be worshiping their Creator, instead of having time for Him, they choose to slug it out to make sure that where they are having problems, those tensions, they work hard in terms of meeting up with the financial pressure, cushion off with the financial pressure. YHWH looked at our time, our day, or days that we are living now, this call it latter stage or age of mankind. They looked at it and said, there'll be problems, there'll be difficulties, there'll be issues, there'll be hatred, there'll be afflictions, there'll be, sword, war, hunger, famine, disease, persecution. But would it be all troubles every day, every week, every month, every year? Now, in the midst of war, in the midst of infighting, in the midst of tension, Yahweh is there. And where Yahweh is, or where Yahweh is in oppression, there is peace. Amen. Where Yahweh is, whether it's in the family, whether it's in the community, whether it's in the nation, there will be peace. To those that will find Him, to those that will follow Him, to those that will pay attention to His instruction, there will be peace. So you see tension. In the midst of tension in the world, you see peace as well. But it's very rare for those who do not understand what Yahweh called His instruction. It's difficult for them to follow, to be part of the peace that He is talking about, to be part of the blessing He's talking about. Now, how is it that cause is pronounced? Now, in the books that I mentioned to us, Leviticus, Deuteronomy, Exodus, Proverbs, and so on, we see in them that Yahweh specifically stated that trouble will follow those who rebel, who disobey him. And once human beings disobey Yahweh, everything in human community will go into disobedience. We go into, opposition. That means instead of peace, there will be the tension that is talked about. There will be problems. There will be issues of life. And people will be finding life very, very difficult. Now, one will ask, why do people of Yahweh, the people of Yahweh themselves, who suppose if they keep to his instructions, will enjoy peace? Why do people of Yahweh suffer so much hatred wherever they find themselves? In the world we are today, there is so much tension, there is so much hatred, there is so much, rancor, there is so much backbiting, there is so much backstabbing, there is so much, all manner of ugly things are going on. Why do people of Yahweh partake in all those when they're supposed to have Yahweh with them? Because wherever Yahweh is, there is peace, there is harmony, there is love. But instead of the peace, you find tension, you find trouble, you find affliction, you find persecution, and that peace is not there. Why do the people of Yahweh have so much hatred, receive so much hatred? Why are people of Yahweh wallowing in affliction, in persecution, in all manner of troubles? Why are people of Yahweh suffering from war, from hunger, from famine, from disease, when he says he will protect his people? He will be the shade, he will be the covering, he will be the protection. For instance, in Leviticus 26, 1-13, he said blessings will follow them. That blessings includes safety, protection. That means they will have peace of Yahweh. The same thing in Deuteronomy 28, 1-14. They are blessed people. Blessing will follow them. And Exodus 20, he did mention in verse 6, his blessings to those that love him, his mercies to those that love him, from generation to generation. Why is it not witnessed on, why are they not partaking in Yahweh's blessings, in Yahweh's peace, in Yahweh's mercies, in Yahweh's goodness? Why? Now, let's break it down. We are talking about blessings and curses. Two types of hate. Let us look at hate or hatred. Two types of hatred are pronounced against the people of Yahweh. Now, number one, we have those who hate Yahweh's law. Those who break Yahweh's law. He said they are under a curse. Those who hate Yahweh's law or break it, do not do it, do not observe it, they are under a curse. They are marked for abhorrence or hatred. They are marked for affliction, persecution, and destruction. Hatred on them is determined until they perish. You will ask, where is this coming from? This is the word of Yahweh. Those who hate the law of Yahweh, they are marked Yahweh has marked them for elimination. They shall be ravaged in wars, hunger, famine, disease, and death. We are talking about the children of Yahweh who ought to obey him, but they are not. These set of people are under a curse because of their disobedience to Yahweh's commandments. They will be saved if they repent. If they return back to Yahweh, they will be saved. Now, we want to establish every statement we make from the book of covenant, from the authority given to us, which is the word of Yahweh. Amos chapter 5 verse 10 says, they hate him who reproves in the gate, and they abhor him who speaks with integrity. Who are they? They hate him. They are the people that are disobedient. Anyone who is disobedient to the word of Yahweh, anyone who will not want to pay attention to Yahweh's instruction and do them, anyone who will hate anybody who is obeying the word and doing it, preaching it, speaking it, that person is living in integrity. That person has integrity. That person speaks with integrity. That person, if he is abhorred by the one who opposes the word of Yahweh, the person abhorring him, the person that hates him, is in trouble. Though he may be persecuting, he may be afflicting the one that is obeying the word of Yahweh. The one that is obeying the word of Yahweh, who is cautious, knowing he's being afflicted, knowing he's in trouble, knowing he is in pain, knowing he is in persecution, in affliction, and he or she is careful to overcome the trouble of his persecutor, he will be saved. But the one that is persecuting him is in trouble, is in judgment, is in a curse. It's in Yahweh's curse. And that person, that same affliction, that same trouble, that same persecution will be meted against him or her sooner or later. And what we are talking about here is the people of Yahweh, who ordinarily hate themselves, who ordinarily not only hating themselves, they hate Yahweh and his word. They're in trouble. Such people are in trouble. Anybody who ordinarily will hold the word of Yahweh, will or supposed to preach the word of Yahweh, or supposed to live by the instruction of Yahweh. Instead of doing that, the person goes his way and he gives excuses. Oh, I'm in trouble. I'm in financial difficulty. I'm in hardship. I'm suffering. Let me labor so much. Let me earn so much. When I prove myself, when I help myself, when I meet all my needs, then I can return and think of if I will worship Yahweh. The person is in trouble. Or the one that is castigating, it goes all out. Castigate those who proclaim the truth. And he hates them because of who they are, because of the word of Yahweh they preach, because of the word of Yahweh they pass on to others. That person is in trouble. So Amos chapter 5 verse 10 says, they hate him who reproves in the gate. One that reproves. You see somebody doing something that is wrong. You see somebody that is walking away from the narrow way, covenant way, and you tell the person the truth. The person hates the truth. A person hate to be honest and hate when honesty is spoken. Such person is endangering his or her life. Except he repents, there will be no way he will be saved. Deuteronomy 27, verse 26, there is a categorical statement that was made there. Cursed is the one who does not confirm all the ways of this Torah, the law, by observing them. That person has placed a curse upon himself if he does not do or confirm the word of Torah. Deuteronomy 8, 19 to 20. Then it shall be, if you by any means forget Yahweh your Father and follow gods and serve them and worship them, I testify against you this day that you shall surely perish. As the nations which Yahweh destroys before you, so you shall perish, because you would not be obedient to the voice of Yahweh your Father. Now, this is those who rebel, who hate Yahweh's law or Torah or word. They break Yahweh's commandments. They are under a curse. The second aspect are those who love and obey Yahweh's laws. They are hated because of the love of the word of Yahweh, because of obedience they have for Yahweh, because of love of brethren. Others hate them. Those who do not obey hate them. They hate them because of the name of Yahweh they call, or the word of Yahweh they preach. These people who love Yahweh and obey his instructions are blessed. Their blessings will remain with them if they will continue to persevere and overcome their trials. They shall be saved and receive eternal inheritance from Yahweh. Hebrews chapter 9, verse 15, Proverbs 8, verse 35. Now, let's listen to what Yeshua said in this instance. Those that love the word of Yahweh, those disciples, those apostles, I and you, who are determined to follow Yeshua, who are determined to hear the word of Yahweh because we love his word and we love him and are eager to obey him. What did he say? Yeshua left instruction for us. Matthew 10, I read verse 22. And you will be hated by all for my name's sake, but he who endures to the end will be saved. Now, this is Yeshua telling us what awaits us. All those that follow Yeshua, they will be hated. When you see those who do not like you because of the word you preach, because of who you are, because of where you belong to the covenant people of Yahweh. You belong to Yahweh, who says, follow me, obey my instructions. Yeshua said, they will hate you. They will hate you because of the word. They will hate you because of the name, his name. They will hate you because you follow Yahweh and you worship Yahweh. The name of Yahweh is hated by mankind, by human beings. And this is orchestrated by acts of Satan. Because Satan rebelled against Yahweh. He caused 1/3 of angels to rebel against Yahweh. And when he was thrown down on earth, he now held every man, every woman, everyone in captivity, including all that is living in the earth. He held them captive and caused them to serve him, to worship him. So anybody that will not worship him, he will deal with the person mercilessly. So he steers all heart to hate Yahweh. And that is where the hatred of man against his creator, against Yahweh, comes from. Satan orchestrated it. But it's very, very important we know where our problem is coming from. You that without curse, you hate Yahweh, you hate his word, you hate his people he appointed to obey his instructions. You hate honoring Yahweh on the day he asked you to honor him, on his Sabbath day. You hate his feasts. You hate the gathering of the brethren. If you are in that category, you've been captured by Satan. You have been captured by Satan. Because every human being is like a vessel. We are not standalone beings. No. It's either we obey Yahweh or we disobey him and obey another. And Yahweh said, if you forget me and obey God, say the person will perish. That is the instruction. Now, Yeshua has told us that we will be hated. Don't ever think that the race we are running, the covenant way we are into, don't think it is smooth sailing. Don't think it's easy. Don't think it is something that you do on your own way, on your own mindset, or when you flock with the world, enjoy the world, at the same time you try to carry along this covenant way. It will never work. It doesn't work that way. You see, there you are following strictly the covenant way and receive the bullets that will follow. Don't worry about the bullets. Yeshua said, don't worry about the troubles. He will be with you to the close of the age. He will fight your battle along the way. Let the bullets fly. Let the arrows, crisscross. Let the persecution, let the afflictions, let the trouble surface. Yeshua said, head on, move on. Do not look back. Do not look by the left or by the right. Continue to be focused. He will be with you. He will fight your battle. That Matthew chapter 10, 22, he went on. He who endures to the end will be saved. When they persecute you in this city, flee to another. For assuredly I say to you, you will not have gone through the cities of Israel. Now, Israelites are not there. It was when they were there. And he was looking at even wherever they're going to be. Wherever you are, before you crisscross, carry the gospel to the ends of the earth, the Son of Man will come. That's what he's saying. To do what? To save you, to protect you. So whether you'll be saved, he has promised his security over you. He has promised safety for you. Matthew 24, verse 9. Then they will deliver you to tribulation and kill you, and you will be hated by all nations because of my name. Now, he was talking directly to the disciples here, to the apostles here. They were the people that were the forerunners. When the covenant way of Yahweh was revealed about 2,000 years ago. Because at that time, before he came, the covenant way of Yahweh was put down. The world was in total darkness. The name of Yahweh had disappeared. The name of Yeshua wasn't even in vogue at that time until he came. But when he came, they even rejected his name. They rejected the Torah and took to Talmud and some other, guiding kind of principles of life they followed in different religions. They hated his feasts. So at the end of the day, darkness. Because when we remove the word of Yahweh from us, darkness sets in. The enemy will have a field day. So in that particular period and that particular time, they so hated Yeshua, they so hated Yahweh, they so hated his word, that even when they were told, do not, as when the disciples were told, do not preach the name of Yeshua in 4 and 5, they were telling them, do not preach in this name again. Do not mention the name of Yahweh or Yeshua again. If you do that, we throw you into prison. And they were throwing them into prison to the point that they began to kill them. And the disciples, the apostles, began to scatter all over the world. So this prophecy of Yeshua came to pass. And up to today, those that are preaching the word of Yahweh, calling the name of Yahweh, they are still afflicting them, they are still persecuting them, they are still troubling them. But Yeshua said, continue, persevere. I will return and I will save you. Matthew chapter 5, 10 to 12. Blessed are those who have been persecuted for the sake of righteousness, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Blessed are you when people insult you and persecute you and falsely say all kinds of evil against you because of me, because of Yeshua. Rejoice and be glad, for your reward in heaven is great. For in the same way, they persecuted the prophets, the disciples, the apostles who were before you. Now, we have looked at two aspects of those who hate Yahweh and who hate the brethren, who hate Yahweh and his word, who hate the brethren. Now, another part of those that are hated, those that preach the good news, those that preach the word, those that love Yahweh, they hate them. Now, having noted about the hatred that is everywhere, persecution that is everywhere, trouble that is everywhere, would you want to withdraw? Would you want to say, no, I will not again continue? Because of so much trouble, because of... Now, the issue is, if you do not follow Yahweh's instruction, obey Yahweh, the person is under a curse of death. If somebody is not following Yahweh's instructions, hate Yahweh, hate those that preach Yahweh, preach the good news of Yahweh, of the kingdom, that fellow is under a curse. And one will say, if I follow Yeshua, I'm going to be persecuted. Yes, they're going to be persecuted as well. They're going to be hated. So which one do I choose? To follow Yeshua or not to follow Yeshua? If you do not follow Yeshua, if you do not obey the instruction, you are still under persecution. So which one do you choose? I will love you. I will want you to choose to follow Yeshua, to obey his instructions, to follow what Yahweh commanded. Because there you have protection. Even in death, you have protection. That is the best option. There is no leeway. It's either somebody is obeying him and leave, or somebody is not obeying at all. The person will face death. Now, let's continue. We are called here to make choice. Called to make choice. Obey the word of Yahweh and live, or disobey the word of Yahweh and perish. Now let us listen to Joshua. I told you we are going to look at this blessing and curse via the word of Yahweh, the very authority. We rely on these authorities that are given to us in the books, the Bible. Joshua 24. We read from verse 14. Now, these Israelites, this is a case of Israelites who left Egypt through the wilderness, entered into the land of Canaan, possessed the land. Now, Joshua has ruled them, lived with them, and it was ding-dong affair. It was struggle. Why were they struggling? What was the issue? What brought about the struggle? It was worship. It was who they were worshiping. When I started, I did mention that right from the beginning of everything, when man failed, he failed because of worship. Worship is the source of sin. Who you worship. Worship Yahweh, you will not have sin. Worship idols, sin will come. So Adam decided to follow worship of idol or idols. He failed. And trouble came. Ever since, trouble has caught up the world till today. When Israelites entered into the land of Canaan, it was a ding-dong affair. They didn't pay particular attention to following Yahweh's instruction from the time of Joshua till exit of Joshua and all the elders that were with him. But then what we say, to some extent, but let us listen to Joshua. How he summoned them in his validatory speech, what he told them. And that will give you an idea what was going on at that time. Let's pay attention. Verse 14, I read. Joshua 24 from 14. Now therefore fear Yahweh, serve him in sincerity and in truth, and put away the gods. Listen carefully. Put away the gods which your fathers served on the other side of the river and in Egypt. Serve Yahweh. Take away gods, serve Yahweh. That is worship. Worship Yahweh, do away with gods. So there are two beings, two powers that seem to be acting out. Yahweh needed not to have rivalry because Yahweh is Yahweh and only him, besides him there is none. But there is this rival fellow that came in, the adversary, and he said he is God. And he took over the minds of men, the behavior of men, the ways of men, and they followed him. At that time, it was ding-dong affair. Joshua saw what his people were doing, and Joshua called them and said, you came out from Egypt where you were worshiping all manner of things, idols. I will explain to you what idol is and what this God, people misunderstand what God is and what idol is. Now, at the end of the day, they were not even contented in the wilderness. They made themselves idols again, called gods. And they began to worship, bow to that God or idol, whatever they carved, and they provoked Yahweh to anger. And Moses and Yahweh caused them to perish. Many of them perished in the wilderness. Yahweh did everything to bring them into the land of Canaan. And they entered there. And Joshua was taking lead. He was guiding them on who they will worship. Worship Yahweh. Stop worshiping gods. And Joshua continued. Let's read on. Serve Yahweh. And if it seems evil to you to serve Yahweh, choose for yourselves this day whom you will serve, whether the gods which your father served that were on the other side of the river, or the gods of the Amorites, the Canaanites, in whose land you dwell. But as for me and my house, we will serve Yahweh. Choice. Choice. This is not wishy-washy affair. This is not lip service thing. It is something from within. Serve him with all your personality. Serve him with all your being. Your body, your soul, your spirit, your strength, your heart, everything in you, serve Yahweh. Not on your dictates, not on the day, on the time you choose. No, serve him as he commands you. Serve him as he appoints you to serve him, not as you will choose. Now he went on. So the people answered and said, far be it from us that we should forsake Yahweh to serve gods. Did you hear what they said? You see, at times, human beings are very good in their own eyes. Human beings are righteous in their own mindset. Human beings feel they understand even far more than the instruction given to them. They can do better. And at times they say, don't teach me, don't show me, don't guide me. I know it. I know where I'm going. I know what I'm doing. Self-righteousness. This is one area every one of us must examine ourselves. Are we into self-righteous? If we are not obedient to the word of Yahweh, we will end up living in self-righteousness. Everything will be good in our eyes. Everything will be good in our ears. Everything will be good within us. We will think at all times that we have arrived. We do it better. But the instruction of Yahweh guides us, directs us to do it better. For Yahweh our Yah is he who brought us and our fathers up out of the land of Egypt, from the house of bondage, who did those great signs in our sight, and preserved us in all the way that we went, and among all the people through whom we passed. Verse 18, and Yahweh drove out from before us all the people, including the Amorites, who dwelt in the land. We also will serve Yahweh, for he is our Yah. Now, this is the reply of the elders, the reply of the people of Israel to Joshua. Joshua had asked them, do not forsake Yahweh and serve gods. They said, no, Joshua, don't speak that again. It's Yahweh we must serve. He brought us out from Egypt through the wilderness into the land. Him and him alone we will serve, no other. Let's march on. Verse 19. But Joshua said to the people, you cannot serve Yahweh, for he is a holy Yahweh. Did you hear that? Was Joshua against them? Was Joshua persuading them not to serve Yahweh? No. He had seen what they had been doing right from Egypt through the wilderness, even into the land of Canaan. They were wishy-washy. They were dilly-dallying. It was lip service. It was, let's do it as we want. Don't tell us about the law. Don't tell us about the commandment. Don't tell us about the instruction of Yahweh. Don't guide us. Don't stop preaching to us. We know what we are doing. Just like Amos said, they hated those who preach the word of Yahweh, the word of integrity, the word of truth. They hated them. This is what the people were doing. Indirectly, they hated the word of Yahweh. But they were pretentiously showing, or by lip service, or some kind of body language, that they are following Yahweh, when their whole being wasn't following Yahweh. Yahweh hate a partial worshiper. Yahweh hate a lip service worshiper. Yahweh hates such a fellow. Verse 19, let's listen to Joshua. But Joshua said to the people, You cannot serve Yahweh, for he is a holy Yahweh. He is a jealous Yah. He will not forgive your transgressions nor your sins. If you forsake Yahweh and serve foreign gods, then he will turn and do you harm and consume you after he has done you good. Remember what we said earlier, that if you forsake the word of Yahweh, if you rebel against his commandment, Yahweh will put you into the hands of those who will hate you, who will afflict you, who will persecute you, who will trouble you until they kill you. That is Yahweh. To his people, he's talking to his people. He is talking to those who belong to the stock of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. He's talking to those whom he called Israel, his own people. Verse 21. And the people said to Joshua, "No, but we will serve Yahweh." So Joshua said to the people, "You are witnesses against yourselves that you have chosen Yahweh for yourselves to serve him. You have chosen to serve him." And they said, "We are witnesses." Now, therefore, he said, Joshua now is talking, verse 23 there. Now, therefore, he said, "Put away the foreign gods which are among you, and incline your heart to Yahweh, and incline your heart to Yahweh, the Yah of Israel." And the people said to Joshua, "Yahweh our Yah, we will serve, and his voice we will obey." Now, at this particular point, Joshua made it open and clear to them that though they were contending or pretending or asserting that they were serving Yahweh, they were not, because there were still idols amongst them. Brethren, anything can constitute idol. Anything can constitute God, even foreign gods. Something that we are imported, something that wasn't of Israel, and it was in their midst, and they loved it, and they followed it. That becomes idol, and that idol becomes their God. Now, Joshua said, "You are claiming you will serve Yahweh. Put away. I see in you gods, the Gentile gods that you are carrying. Put them away." Now, at the end, what Joshua did was to do what? In order to bail himself out, in order to showcase that he did preach to them, now he cut out stone, and on that stone he wrote the agreement he made with them, that they have agreed to serve Yahweh. He said, "Heaven and earth bear witness," including the stone, bear witness. And when Yeshua will return, and even that generation, that age, when they will be saying, "Oh, nobody taught us, nobody," that stone will rise, and they will read all that they have communicated, because it was written, it was documented. Wherever the stone is it lost? No, it's like Israelites that are saying, "We have become dry bone. We have been lost. We don't have hope again." Yahweh says, "I know you. I know where you are. You are bone, everything. I will cause you to rise up again." Then when cause them to rise up again, will they be sincere? Will they be truthful? Will they be found as those who were serving Yahweh, or who will be ready to serve him? Well, he's calling our attention. Even the dry bones that have been awakened today, he's asking us, get your heart revived, get your mind revived, and choose to serve Yahweh. Now, Moses, before Joshua made his validatory speech, Moses in the wilderness called these people. Let us hear what Moses said to them. Deuteronomy chapter 30, 1 to 10. Deuteronomy chapter 30, 1 to 10. "Now it shall come to pass," and Moses was not only writing to them at that time, Moses was writing to this age. Moses wrote for the age to come. He was looking at the future. He was writing to the people of Yahweh from that time to the end of time. So let us listen to his prophetic instruction. Now it shall come to pass, when all these things shall come upon you, the blessing and the curse. Are you hearing it clearly? Blessing and curse, these are the two important aspects of way of life that we must choose. Which area, which part? Is it the part of blessing that is life, or the part of blessing, a part of curse that is of death? We must choose one part. We must go one way, follow one way. He continued. He said, the blessing and curse which I have set before you, and you call them to mind among all the nations where Yahweh drives you, and you return to Yahweh. Now, at that time, Yahweh had told Moses that Israel will not make it in the land of Canaan. They will be scattered all over the world. So this Deuteronomy chapter 30 was written based on what Yahweh saw, that Israel will be scattered all over the world. In this age, when Yahweh was writing or sent Moses to write this, he saw Israelites already scattered all over the world, because he knew who they are. He knew they were stiff-necked people who will not serve him in that land. Then he will scatter them. Then wherever they are, they have to serve him wherever they are. If they will not, the same pronouncement, blessings and curses, will go with them, will be with them. If they choose to follow the righteous way, the law of Yahweh, the blessings will follow them. If they choose to go and serve the Gentile gods, idols, curses will follow them. Death will come against them, and they will be destroyed. Now here we see Moses reading it out to them, to their ears. And you call them to mind among all the nations where Yahweh drives you, and you return to Yahweh, and obey his voice, according to all that I command you today, you and your children, with all your heart and with all your soul, that Yahweh your Father will bring you back with all your heart and with all your soul, that Yahweh your Father will bring you back from captivity. This hasn't happened yet. Deuteronomy chapter 30 is clear. In fact, while Joshua was talking to them when they were in the land of Canaan, here Moses was speaking about Israel who will be in captivity, and he was looking forward to when they will obey, then Yahweh will return them back to the land. Israel has to come to obedience to return back to the land, or else they will remain in the Gentile world until they are done, until they receive the word in their heart. But the Bible said Yahweh will wait for them, and they will be dilly-dallying. They will still be doing what they are doing until trouble, persecution will come upon them. They will almost be annihilated, and Yahshua will return to save only remnant. Brethren, what we are talking about here is very, very important. It is key to our safety, our protection, our peace, our salvation, our life, our being restored back to the land. Where is our heart? Where is our obedience? That is what Deuteronomy chapter 30 is asking us. Now that you're in the Gentile world, you are no longer living in the land of Israelites. What are you doing? What are you doing with the word of Yahweh? What are you doing with his word that he says you must obey to live? Let's continue. That Yahweh your Father will bring you back from captivity, that is if they obey, and have compassion on you and gather you again from all the nations where Yahweh your father has scattered you. Verse 4. If any of you are driven out to the farthest parts under heaven, from where Yahweh your father will gather you, and from there he will bring you. Then Yahweh your father will bring you to the land which your fathers possessed, and you shall possess it. He will prosper you and multiply you more than your fathers. The fathers he's talking about are those that were there when Joshua was leading them, even beyond the time of Joshua, Gideon, and so on and so forth, Samuel. Then they were scattered because they were not living in the land. In the Gentile world where they live, now by the time it's done on them, they begin to obey. Not all of them, majority will not obey. Then the remnants that heard and obeyed, because Yeshua said, as it was in the day of Noah, as it was in the day of Lot, so it will be in the latter days. Their latter days is where they will be found in the Gentile world. So only remnant, remember, remnant were saved in Sodom and Gomorrah, Lot and the family, remember? And Noah and his family in the days of Noah before the flood. Only that one family was saved. So what Yeshua was saying is only few people will be saved, because he said as it happened then in the days of Noah and the days of Lot, so it will be in the age when he will be returning back. This is when he will be coming to pick up and take the Israelites to restore them back to the land. Only few will be met ready. Only few will be met obedient, living to the standard of the word of Yahweh. Because the standard of Yahweh can never change. Whether in the time of Adam or Noah or Abraham, it's the same standard he's demanding. It's all about obedience. To obey is to obey. To listen to his instruction and do it. The good news to us is that we have been lavished with the Spirit of Yahweh. The Spirit of Yahweh has endowed us the fruits of the Spirit that now equip us to obey. This is what is called grace. This grace, Yeshua paid dearly for it. With his life, with his blood that was shed. The fruit of the Spirit that came out of his Spirit was granted us, that we will now receive the fruits of the Spirit to obey, to begin to obey and live in accordance to the instructions that will help us to be rescued. Verse 4. If any of you are driven out to the farthest part of the heaven, from where Yahweh your father will gather you, and from there he will bring you. Then Yahweh your father will bring you to the land which your fathers possessed, and you shall possess it. He will prosper you and multiply you more than your fathers, and Yahweh your father will circumcise your heart and the heart of your descendants to love Yahweh your father with all your heart and with all your soul, that you may live. Now, this giving or this gift of circumcision of the heart has come. 2,000 years ago, when Yeshua came, he delivered himself, he offered himself, his life, his blood was shed, his spirit was let out, that we might receive the fruits of the Spirit. To do what? To deal with the issue of heart. Because the trouble of man has been his heart. What is your heart telling you? What is that is going on in your mind? What is that is going on within you? It is the fruits of the Spirit that train you, that gives you the love of Yahweh, the peace of Yahweh, the joy of Yahweh, give you that spirit of long-suffering, spirit of self-control, spirit of faith that will help you, spirit of goodness, to have that character of good, righteousness, which Yahweh called Adam to imbibe, called Noah, called Abraham, to the time of Yeshua, up to this day. We are equipped to obedience via the fruits of the Spirit. So this is big assignment that Yeshua did on our behalf. Circumcising is through the Spirit our heart is circumcised. While we are immersed in the water, we receive Yeshua, we immersed and we are brought out from the water. A new person, a new man, with a new heart, with a new mindset, with a new thinking, with focus to obey, to be obedient, having received the fruits of the Spirit, having received this Holy Spirit to guide us. There and then, our heart is circumcised. The second time of circumcision. One was the first skin circumcision. This is circumcision of the heart done by the Spirit of Yahweh via the working of Yeshua Messiah. Having received that, what are you doing with it? Because one can even baptize in the name of Yeshua, but cannot obey still. May want to still remain in disobedience and even querying those that are calling upon the name of Yahweh, that are obeying his instruction, and they may even hate them. And that is where Yahweh will now do mass slaughtering. He will kill. He will not look back. Because even giving out his son for our sake, for our rebellion, for our disobedience, so that we will return to obedience. People are saying, no, his word, his instruction has been nailed, has been cancelled. They say it's law. That law has been nailed to the cross. Who nailed it? Who said? Did Yahweh nail it? Did Yeshua nail it? Or the disciples or the apostles? Who? Been cheated? Remember I said earlier, Satan did this. But even when Satan did it, it's immaterial because it's all about you. You are the one making the choice. Satan will prompt you. You will choose where you are going to go. Are you going to hear Yahweh or are you going to hear Satan? Continuing with Deuteronomy 30, verse 7. Also, Yahweh will put all these curses on your enemies and on those who hate you. That is for those that obey him. Those that hate you, Yahweh will put curses on them. So don't fear that somebody is hating you, somebody is abusing you, somebody is afflicting you, somebody is troubling you, somebody is persecuting you. Don't fear. Yahweh says he is there to return it back to them, back to sender. Whatever they do to you, Yahweh will return it back to them. That is promised. Listen to him again. Also, Yahweh, your Father, will put all these curses on your enemies and on those who hate you, who persecuted you. And you will again obey the voice of Yahweh and do all his commandments, which I command you today. Yahweh, your Father, will make you abound in all the work of your hand, in the fruit of your body, in the increase of your livestock, and in the produce of your land for good. For Yahweh will again rejoice over you for good as he rejoiced over your fathers. If you obey the voice of Yahweh your Father to keep his commandments and statutes which are written in this book of the law, book of covenant, and if you turn to Yahweh your Father with all your heart and with all your soul. Now, Yahweh will now ask us to decide what we are to do. Listen and listen carefully from verse 15. Choice of life or death. Verse 15. See, I have set before you today life and good, death and evil. So this is a choice. It's a matter of where to lean to the left or to the right. Are you leaning to life and good, or are you going to lean to death and evil? Now he continued, in that I command you today to love Yahweh your Father, to walk in his ways, and to keep his commandments, his statutes, and his judgments, that you may live and multiply, and Yahweh your Yah will bless you in the land which you go to possess. So life and good belong to those who do what? Who keep Yahweh's commandments, his statutes, and his judgments. They will live, they will be blessed, they will multiply, they will increase, and they will be restored back to the land. These are those who have chosen obedience, who have chosen life and good, which is the part of blessing. Now let's hear the other side of the equation. But if your heart turns away so that you do not hear, did you hear that in Deuteronomy chapter 6, where he was saying, hear, 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 hear. Be careful to hear, be careful to do, be careful to obey. But if your heart turns away so that you do not hear and are drawn away and worship gods and serve them, I announce to you today that you shall surely perish. You shall not prolong your days. The problem and the quarrel is worshiping of gods. The key message to one's choice is who somebody worships. Who do you worship? Who do you worship? Who do you serve? Who do you bow to? That is the crux of the matter. I announce to you today that you shall surely perish. You shall not prolong your days. I call heaven and earth. Yahweh will always call heaven and earth. Yes. When, apart from Israelites being the witnesses, or those that Yahweh has chosen, the pastors, the evangelists, the teachers, and so on, apart from them, Yahweh will always call heaven and earth also to add in witness bearing. These are going to bear witness in the last days, because many will say they didn't hear. Many will say nobody preached to them. Many will say they didn't know what was. People will cry and weep, and they will be begging that they didn't hear. Yahweh will call witnesses. Heaven will open up. The earth, the soil, the ground we put our leg, we walk on, will speak. Yahweh is calling the earth and the heaven to bear witness. I call heaven and earth as witnesses today against you, that I have set before you life and death, blessing and cursing. Therefore, choose life, that both you and your descendants may live, that you may love Yahweh your Father, that you may obey his voice, and that you may cling to him, for he is your life and the length of your days, that you may dwell in the land which Yahweh swore to your fathers, to Abraham, to Isaac, and to Jacob, to give them. Brethren, I want to summarize this part here. Let's make it part 1 here. Next week we continue. But the crux of the matter here is Yahweh has given us 2 sides of ways to follow: blessing and curse. Blessing that has to do with life, that has to do with good. Everything that is good, you will obtain if you follow obedience, if you follow keeping to the commandments of Yahweh, the word of Yahweh, the Torah of Yahweh, the instruction of Yahweh, the judgment of Yahweh. Whatever he commands you, oh, it is too hard. It's not hard, because your heart has been circumcised. Oh, my heart is not circumcised. Okay, have you received Yeshua? That is the query. If you have you received the Holy Spirit? So if there is anything missing along the line, fight for it now that you are breathing, now that you are living, so that you wouldn't have an excuse tomorrow. Baptize in his name. He will fill your heart. He will baptize. He will cleanse. He will circumcise your heart and fill your inner being with his spirit. His spirit will provide you all you need. The spirit of love, to love him, to love your neighbor, to love your brethren, to love all that he's doing. That is what the spirit offers. Peace, you have peace. Even in the midst of trouble, you have peace. Even in the midst of persecution, you have peace. That is what the spirit is offering you. Whether you are having, your brother, your sister, or a foreigner afflicting you, troubling you, you will have peace. You have what is called self-control. Even you will be patient. You have spirit of patience, to be patient in everything. That is what the Holy Spirit offers. That is why he gave us the Holy Spirit. The Holy Spirit is given to us so that we can be in position to obey, not to rebel. Not to say, oh, grace has been given to me. There's no more to obey the law. The law is meant for the Israelites. Who said? That way, demanding whether Israelites of old or Israelites of today, is demanding obedience from every one of us. Has given us everything, all the way that we need to obey. Brethren, anybody that refused to make the right choice, he said, I ask you to obey life. To choose life, to choose the good way, to choose the blessings he has offered. But if you decide to choose the course, the way that leads to destruction, the person will perish, the person will languish, and the person will go into eternal destruction. Nobody will save him. When the trumpet will be blown, will be sounded, when the last judgment will ensue upon the earth, the person will be condemned. The person will not see life any longer, will perish and become dust. May we turn to obedience. May we turn to obey Yahweh. Because the issue is, do not worship gods. Worshipping of gods is the beginning of sin and all sins. Next week, we will look at this issue of God, idol, and worshipping of them, and how these people who today they think, by anyhow they like, partially, lip service, whether by their body language, anyhow they want, they worship and obey. Yahweh said, no, I will not tolerate that to be insult. Because the reason and purpose he created mankind is worship, service, obedience to his word. That, like the angels are total in obedience, in worship, in service to Yahweh. So he created mankind. While angels are doing it in heaven, human beings are created here on earth to obey Yahweh, as ambassador, as representative of Yahweh, here on earth, to do the same thing the angels are doing. After all, we are created as angels. We are created as gods, little gods of that matter. But you are maturing as Yeshua matured. As Yeshua, who was born man and increased by every means that Yahweh provided, including all the virtues of Yahweh, the spirit of Yahweh, and he was elevated even above angels. And Yahweh commanded angels to worship Yeshua. So we are being, propped up and elevated to the point at the time of resurrection, all human beings will be elevated and at least will be put or placed at the level of angels, if not more. And Yeshua is going to be our head. Yeshua is going to be our leader. Yeshua is going to be our chief shepherd, the high priest, the only one that will guide us in this earth, lead us in this earth, whereby every soul will turn to worshiping, reverencing Yahweh and Yahweh only. Yeshua is going to do that. He's going to be our head in the end. Brethren, choose the way of Yahweh, that narrow way, that covenant way, that way of truth, that way of life, that way of good, that way of righteousness, that way that leads into eternal inheritance, that way that is filled with blessings only and not curse. Today, people are struggling and having issues and problems and difficulties. Yes, he said it will be there. Whether you are a follower of Yeshua, because they will persecute you, they will afflict you, they will trouble you, but he said persevere, because you are going somewhere where in the end you will live in life, live with life and enjoy life, enjoy blessings forever and ever, perpetually. But those who said no, they will receive curse, and at the end they will perish. They will not see life, they will not dwell in life, and they will not be blessed. They are gone, and their memory will be lost forever and ever. May that not be your portion. May your portion be obedience. May your portion be to serve Yahweh. May your portion be to continue in the choice of blessing, choice of life, choice of good things, of blessings that Yahweh has pronounced unto us, choice of eternal inheritance. And that way, when Yeshua comes, when the trumpet will be blown, I pray none of us will be found wanting. We'll be there. We will inherit the kingdom which he provided humanity, mankind, the obedient people. I pray that by your love, by your fear of him and his word, by your candid and virtuous living, Yahweh will call you to inherit, to occupy, and to possess your possession. And the earth he created will be for you, for your honor, for your glory, as he has said. He created man and he gave him the earth to have dominion, and he gave him dominion and honor. May this be our portion in Yeshua's name. Hallelujah. Hallelujah.